Caloroga Shark Media.
Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. A slow news day, to be honest. Let's put our feet up. We'll take it a little slower today. I'm going to be a little more conversational than usual. Jimmy Fallon had a good joke. He said, I'm not sure Biden's border plan is going to work. Forget the border. We can't even secure the deodorant at Walgreens. Vulture profiled Bowen Yang and Kenan Thompson. Since they are comedians, the topic, of course, cancel culture. Bowen says everybody's highly personal about what they find funny, so it's everyone's value systems meeting at the same time that makes it completely ripe for conflict. Vulture says he then stops and reconsiders his choice of words, not conflict. I always boil it down to a healthy discussion about what's going on in the world. Bowen addressed the accusation that he distanced himself from Dave Chappelle. You may recall that Chappelle showed up in episode 10 of this season. Some viewers noticed that Yang was standing on the opposite side of the stage from Dave and had his arms crossed. Yang said, I stand where I always stand on good nights. It was not a physical distance that anyone was creating. It had to do with so many things that were completely internal. Vulture dug in, asking if he was unhappy with Chappelle's appearance. Bowen said, it was about other people's response in the show. I was just confused. That was it. People were confused because Chappelle wasn't part of the episode. That episode was hosted by Dakota Johnson. The following week, episode 11, Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley appeared. Then episode 12 was Shane Gillis. All right, so a little run of controversy. Thompson laughs and says, controversy. Yang chimes in, I'm going to give Lorne Michaels some credit to that meta-narrative. There's a story around the show now, and it's his show. He gets to do whatever he wants. How did they feel about Shane Gillis being brought back? Yang says he's used to their names being mentioned together since they joined the same year. Vulture points out Gillis never actually appeared. He was fired before the premiere. Anytime our names are in the same sentence, at least in a journalistic way, it always feels deleterious. What does that word even mean? And I definitely didn't say it right. Apparently it means causing harm or damage. It feels like one person's trying to undo the other. I was just really curious about what the show would be like and if it would be an opportunity to really move past it. He and I have done enough things in our careers now to really not have that be the definitive beginning or the thing that casts a pall over everything else that we do going forward. Thompson praised the writers, saying the show's doing an incredible job, in my opinion, just allowing for the times to dictate what's appropriate, what's funny, and what's not. It feels like the New York dinner table. He's honored to be the longest-running cast member, and jokes, until I get into a group of black people and they're like, we don't watch SNL, I'm like, I'm representing for y'all. Bowen says, that's what I run into, too, with queer people and with Asian people. Oh, we don't watch. This one probably has developed by the time you're hearing this. A Quebec judge has approved the sale of Just for Laughs assets to Comedy Ha. I talked about this the other day, but it looks like the festival will come back. Comedy Ha will not acquire the company in its entirety, but it will take possession of the Just for Laughs Festival, Zoo Fest, Comedy Pro, and the Gags brands, plus the audiovisual catalog. So when you take all those things out, I'm not sure what Just for Laughs is without the festival and the audiovisual catalog and the stuff. I don't know. The Comedy Ha CEO said, I remember the times I used to come to Just for Laughs. So today, it's a great day for us. It's the first day of a new era for Comedy Ha, or maybe it's pronounced Comedy Ha. There's an I there. COMEDI, capital HA, exclamation point. Comedy Ha? Who knows? Yeah, I think it's Comedy Ha. Comedy Ha says they intend to redefine its development plans in order to support growth in all sectors of activity, including festivals, production of live shows, TV promotion, tour promotion, distribution, and monetization of content. Comedy Ha has a festival in Quebec City that'll have its 25th edition from August 1st to the 24th. Maybe I'll go to that. I haven't been to Quebec City yet. And I'm not clear here. I've read 2 articles. It's a little unclear. I think they're doing a festival this year. The Comedy Ha Salute Montreal Festival will take place July 18th to the 28th at the usual places there in downtown Montreal. The CEO says next year we should be back to as it used to be. So I wonder if they're doing a mini festival here. I'll let you know when I find out. All right, if you listen every day, I have kind of 2 halves of the show. Usually in the front half, I do all the big names. In the second half, I do more esoteric stuff. There's nothing to load the front block today. I have plenty for the second half. So this is where I mentioned I would get a little more conversational. I got a note from a listener who DM'd me. So when listeners DM me, I don't use their name. But thank you, listener, who was curious about how I feel about Joe Coy. And it reminded me, not everybody listens every day. Do I not like Joe Coy? Do I not find him funny? So let me clear this up. I like Joe Coy. I think Joe Coy is funny. I haven't seen the new special yet. I've been watching Star Trek this week. I have had conversations with Joe Coy. Nice guy. As for the bits, A lot of my influences are from 80s Letterman, and I like beating a joke to death. As I've explained to a few people lately, the Joe Coy bit where I head into a news story, say Joe Coy, and then I do something like, one time he did this horrible thing, and then I play the clip. I'm not going to do it today. That is me beating the dead horse. I have beaten the dead horse. It has gone from it was funny to not funny at all to John, will you please stop? And for some of us, it has come back up to being funny again because I've beaten the horse so badly. But along the way, you get new listeners who might not realize that I'm just goofing. My real take is it's a harmless joke and Taylor Swift should have just smiled or something and nobody would be talking about it, especially one idiot beating a joke to death, 6-7 months later. So I do like Joe Coy. I haven't seen the new special. Fit Fugitive saw it and they wrote, do you know the famous meme where something is supposed to be funny, but when you're watching it, it's a whole other story? Most of the time I was watching Joe Coy live from Brooklyn and that's how I was feeling. And that's quite ironic considering the opening 10 minutes of Joe Coy's Netflix special literally ask you to laugh out loud. Coy explicitly talks about people who he terms energy vampires. These are the people with whom you hang out with and then end up feeling miserable. He jokes about people who aren't quite laughing even while watching a comedy special. Then Joe goes full boomer and starts talking about the effects of social media. According to Joe Coy, your social media friends are not your real friends. You should get out more and put effort into real-world friendships. I don't think that's ridiculous at all. But this writer writes, I obviously can't agree because all the genuine friends I have are actually the ones I made on social media. And hell, the same goes for relationship as well. Yeah, you might argue that's my personal thing. Why should I bring it up when a comedian is blatantly generalizing? And it's quite stupid, to be honest, especially the bit where Coy speaks about how he used to get scared when talking to a girl and just talking to her compared to how people just slide into DMs these days. So I'm guessing here the special touched a nerve with the writer, who then adds, at this point, I should clarify myself. I'm not out here to launch a scathing attack on the comedian. I'm just doing my job here, which is honestly telling you how I felt after watching live from Brooklyn. Now, if you ask me, I've seen worse stand-up sets compared to this. Joe Coy might be unfunny for the most part, but he's certainly not boring. So there's a review. All right, I'll have to actually watch this thing. Now, here's one that would normally be weekend filler, but let me use it here. A slideshow from MSN.com. John, are you recording your podcast in 2002? I know, right? This one is the richest comedians in the world. There are 21 slides. I haven't looked at it. Let's see. Number 19, Terry Fader. You know, the famous ventriloquist and impressionist. He's had a residency in Las Vegas for quite some time. Okay. An ad. Slideshow continues on the next slide. Oh, MSN, what are we doing here? 19. Stefan Robb. It's a tie for 19. I didn't mess up there. I was curious about why Terry Fader was number 19. Okay, now I'm interested. Who's this? Once known as the most powerful man in German television, Stefan Robb hosted the comedy-based talk shows Vivasion and TV Total. He's also contributed to the Eurovision Song Contest as a performer, songwriter, and producer. In 2015, he retired from television to focus primarily on production. Net worth $160 million. Interesting. 18. And I didn't even recognize this person. A picture came up and I'm like, who is this? Another German comedian? No, it's Drew Carey. Drew Carey no longer looks like Drew Carey. Net worth $165 million. 17, Bill Murray. You know who that is. Slideshow continues after this ad. A tie at 14. Steve Harvey tied with Ray Romano, tied with Conan. Another ad. 13, Dan Aykroyd. 12, Seth MacFarlane. A tie for number 10, Larry David, $400 million, tied with David Letterman. Another ad. Number 9, Adam Sandler, worth $440 million. Actually, I meant to bring this up as well. As much as I'm joking about Joe Coy, I'm not joking about Adam Sandler. His movies are terrible. Anything I ever say about Adam Sandler, do I stylize it to be halfway entertaining? Sure. Do I dislike Adam Sandler movies? Absolutely. A tie at number 7, Kevin Hart and Jay Leno. Number 6, Ellen. Number 4, another tie. Come on with the ties here, guys. Trey Parker. Who do you think Trey Parker from South Park's going to be tied with? Let me guess. Nope. Slideshow gets to that next slide. MSN. Come on, bro. This is ridiculous. Matt Groening, part of the tie. See, not who I was expecting there. Matt Groening from The Simpsons. Number 3 is Matt Stone. And they have addressed this. They write, co-creator Matt Stone is reportedly worth $100 million more than series co-visionary Trey Parker. Why? Stone is known for his savvy real estate investments. Interesting. Number 2, Byron Allen. Yeah, you may remember him if you're old like me. He was on a show called Real People a zillion years ago. He has done a lot of investing. He owns TV networks. That dude is super successful. And number 1, Jerry Seinfeld. If you'd like these programs ad-free, there's a link in the show notes. It says caloroga.supportingcast.fm. What you do is you click that. You can use whatever podcast player you want. The one you're using right now, it'll work. $4.99 a month, get the show commercial-free, and the other shows on the network commercial-free. Pretty cool, right? Yes. I mentioned the other day that Stand Up New York was moving or had moved to the Upper West Side, and that it had been a cool location because comedians could just jump in there a little out of the way, as much as out of the way Upper West Side could be. Well, apparently the folks at the New York Comedy Club have listened to me. They're buying the location, 236 West 78th Street near Broadway. New York Comedy Club is taking over, revamping, and rebranding the existing stand-up New York Comedy Club, so folks like Jerry and Amy Schumer will have somewhere to duck into on the down low. Kevin James is going to play bad boy golfer John Daly in an upcoming limited series. Why? I don't know either. Heidi Gardner spoke to the LA Times about auditioning for SNL. She said, "You get 5 minutes," and they said, "Don't go over." So I did 12 characters in 5 minutes. I just tried to wham-bam them. Then I heard they wanted me to come back, but this time it'd be a whole new set. And I was like, but those are the 12. Those are the ones I had. I was just performing at the Groundlings in so many shows and failing a lot. So for that second edition, I was like, well, that sketch didn't work at the Groundlings, but I think people like this one little part of a character. I could do that for 15 seconds. So I always say in my second audition, I did my bench players and they got me the job. Tim Minchin, who is fantastic, is touring the States the first time since 2011. It's unclear how serious or not this is. It is titled An Unfunny Evening with Tim Minchin and His Piano. The subtitle does add, however, the promoter can't guarantee the artist will not inadvertently amuse. So is he playing serious songs from his album Apart Together? Is he playing stuff from Matilda and Groundhog Day? Or is he playing the funny songs? Anyway, super talented guy. I'm sure he'll play something funny. You should go. Tim Minchin in a statement said, "It's been over a decade since I played solo in the States. I'm so excited to be back. Nothing compares to U.S. audiences." It's a pre-sale that starts today. TimFan is your code. The tour kicks off August 3rd in Vancouver, which is not in the United States. U.S. premiere, Portland, Oregon on the 6th. Seattle, San Fran, LA, Denver, Austin, Dallas, Toronto, Minneapolis, Boston, Washington, D.C., and it wraps up in New York City. And that is your comedy news for today. Tomorrow, my wonderful hour-long interview with Mark Malkoff. We talk about late night. I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been hyping it up. It's pretty good. That's tomorrow and a normal episode on Sunday. See you there.